Over 2,500 years ago, the Buddha described a path. Not a path made of stone or soil, but one made of awareness, insight, and inner peace. This path unfolds through what he called the Seven Factors of Enlightenment, 7 qualities of mind and heart that arise as we awaken. These are not rigid steps, and they do not need to be achieved in order. Instead, they are like flowers blooming in a garden, each one opening when the conditions are right. And here is something many find surprising. You may already be cultivating some of these qualities without even realizing it. Have you ever paused to observe your thoughts? Have you noticed the stillness beneath the noise of the world? Have you questioned the source of your suffering? These moments are not ordinary. They are glimpses of awakening. And today, we will explore each of these 7 qualities, gently, together, so that you may recognize where you are on this path and what may be blooming next. The first factor is Sati, often translated as mindfulness. But this is not a trendy technique or a productivity tool. It is something much more sacred. The act of returning to this moment, fully and without judgment. In our ordinary state, we live in a fog of reactivity, chasing desires, avoiding discomfort, lost in memory or fear of what might come. But mindfulness cuts through that fog. It begins simply by noticing the breath, the posture, the sensations of the body. We begin to see our thoughts rather than being swept away by them. And as awareness grows, so does space. We pause before reacting. We notice patterns we once acted out blindly. The Buddha compared mindfulness to a gatekeeper who watches who enters and leaves the palace. With each breath, we become more alert, more present to the life we are living. This presence is not passive. It is active seeing, a quiet, loving attention to whatever arises. With mindfulness as our foundation, the path begins to open. The second factor is Dhamma-vicaya, investigation of the truth. Once the mind is steady through mindfulness, it begins to ask deeper questions, not out of restlessness, but from a sincere yearning to understand. Why do I suffer? What is the mind? What lies beneath the surface of this moment? This investigation is not intellectual. It is experiential. We turn our attention inward, observing what thoughts arise, what triggers our emotions, what clings, what resists. It's like being a kind, patient scientist, studying our own experience with curiosity, not judgment. In this stage, we begin to see how our beliefs shape our perception. We notice how suffering arises, not from the world itself, but from how we relate to it. The Buddha said that suffering comes from craving, from clinging. Through investigation, we start to see how often we grasp for control, for certainty, for identity. And the more clearly we see, the more freedom we find. We begin to understand the nature of impermanence, of cause and effect, of the self as a fluid process, not a fixed thing. This wisdom does not come all at once, but with each gentle inquiry, with each honest observation, we begin to peel back the layers. Investigation brings light to places long hidden in shadow. The third factor is Viriya, often translated as energy, effort, or diligence. But this is not a harsh or forceful energy. It is the quiet strength that arises when the heart aligns with truth. It's the kind of effort that flows from inspiration, not pressure. Like water that moves naturally downhill, This energy sustains your practice without pushing or straining. When mindfulness and investigation are cultivated, a natural enthusiasm begins to emerge. We begin to feel the benefits: more peace, more clarity, more compassion. And this inspires us to continue. This energy is not about doing more. It is about returning to your intention again and again, even when the path feels difficult. It is waking up in the morning and choosing to practice. It is noticing when the mind wanders and gently guiding it back with patience. The Buddha compared it to a strong arm that holds a bow steady, not rigid, not weak, but steady, awake, and committed. Through this steady energy, awakening becomes possible, not as a distant dream, but as something alive in each step we take. As energy flows and deepens, a beautiful quality arises: Pīti, also known as joy. This joy is not dependent on external pleasures. It is the joy of recognition, of beginning to understand something true and timeless. It may arrive as a warm feeling in the body, a quiet uplift in the heart, or a sense of connectedness to all things. Sometimes it appears suddenly, like sunlight breaking through the clouds. Other times, it's a subtle gratitude, a deep contentment that arises from within. This joy is a sign that the mind is becoming less burdened. The weight of craving, aversion, and confusion begins to lift. But the Buddha offered a gentle caution. Joy is not the final goal. It is a fruit of the practice, not something to chase or cling to. If we become attached to these pleasant states, they too become obstacles. And so we meet joy with mindfulness, allowing it to arise, to nourish us, and to pass when it is time. The fifth factor, Passaddhi, tranquility. As joy softens, it gives way to an even deeper peace, a calmness of body, heart, and mind. In this stage, the inner waves grow quiet. Emotions lose their grip. Thoughts come and go, but they no longer disturb the surface of our awareness. This tranquility is not cold or distant. It is gentle and steady, like a still lake reflecting the sky. We begin to move through life with more ease. We speak more slowly, listen more fully, and act with greater care. It is here that equanimity begins to take root, the ability to remain balanced in both joy and sorrow. From the outside, this stage may look like stillness, but inwardly, it is vibrant, alive with presence, free from grasping. The Buddha taught that a tranquil mind is the ground from which deep concentration grows. With this calm foundation, we begin to see the nature of things even more clearly. The sixth factor is Samādhi, concentration or collectedness of the mind. This is not about forcing the mind into narrow focus. It is the natural stillness that arises when mindfulness, investigation, energy, joy, and tranquility have been cultivated. In this state, awareness becomes steady, like a flame that does not flicker in the wind. Distractions lose their pull. The mind no longer chases every thought or feeling. Instead, it settles, gently, fully. With this concentration, we can observe the subtle workings of the mind, how thoughts arise and pass, how emotions form and dissolve, how the sense of self is constructed moment by moment. We see more clearly than ever before. And from this clarity, deep insight becomes possible. Samādhi is not an escape from life. It is the full presence that allows us to meet life with wisdom and compassion. The seventh and final factor is Upekkhā, equanimity. This is the culmination of all that has come before. Equanimity is the mind that remains balanced in the face of gain and loss, praise and blame, joy and sorrow. It is not indifference. It is deep caring, held with wisdom. With equanimity, we no longer grasp at pleasure or run from pain. We remain present with all of life, open, steady and free. This quality is the quiet strength of awakening, a mind that does not cling, a heart that does not harden. It is here that we truly understand the nature of impermanence and our place within the great unfolding of things. In this final stage, wisdom and compassion move together, not because we try, but because they arise naturally from a heart that is no longer bound. These 7 factors are not a ladder we climb. They are more like the turning of a spiral, returning again and again, but each time with more depth, more clarity, more peace. Some days you may feel joyful, other days simply aware. At times, all 7 may feel distant. But know this: wherever you are, the path is alive within you. The Buddha did not offer these teachings as philosophy, but as living tools for freedom. As you move through your own journey, may you recognize these qualities as seeds already present in your heart. With gentle care, they will bloom. If this teaching brought insight or peace, I invite you to like, subscribe, and share it with someone on the path. And until we meet again, may your practice be steady, your heart be open, and your journey be peaceful.